13 Action News presents Nevada Nurses, Frontline Heroes, sponsored by Clark County Credit Union.
Hello and thank you for joining us for Nevada Nurses, Frontline Heroes, a 13 Action News special. I'm Kalina Estrinos. We asked you to nominate your healthcare heroes and we picked 7 who've gone above and beyond for their patients. That includes Jamie Griggs, who's dedicated to every patient she sees. 13 Action News reporter Sean Delancey tells you why one of them credits her with saving his life.
Nurses have had it rough for the last year, to say the very least. COVID, low staffing, extra hours. But nurses like Jamie Griggs never let it get them down.
You build these relationships with your patients.
One patient she's built a pretty good relationship with at Southwest Medical in Pahrump is Ron Gonsalves, who'd just been told he no longer needed to get scans of his kidneys monitoring for cancer.
She was going through my record.
He came into the clinic with this huge stack of all his medical records.
I told her the good news, I don't have to scan no more.
And I said, okay, we'll just recheck it just to see where we stand, which turned out it's a good thing I did because, you know.
The second guess showed Ron had cancer in his right kidney and growths in his left.
I'd be sitting here, Sean, right now growing cancer.
Gonsalves went through surgery on both kidneys and is now fit as a fiddle. He says when he saw the KTNV Nurse Appreciation campaign on TV, he jumped to let everyone know what a gem Jamie Griggs is, something he always does around town.
I'm glad you guys picked her. What, she wins a house or something? Is that what you guys are giving her? She deserves one. She deserves one. I made her a birdhouse, though. I gave her a birdhouse.
that is a house. That counts. That counts.
It's a house.
Griggs says it all comes down to never getting jaded, never losing the fire to help, and loving every patient that comes to the door.
There's not a better feeling as a provider than knowing that I'm actually made a difference. So, you know, I could almost cry thinking about Ron.
One final nugget from Ron, he says even when you get good news, always seek a second opinion. Sean Delancey, 13 Action News.
Now to a nurse extraordinaire fighting the pandemic on the front lines inside of Spring Valley Hospital and out. Julianne Toremoro on a special mission to help COVID patients. 13 Action News reporter Zora Asbury talked to this special woman.
I've known Julianne since 1986. We used to work together at the prime transplant center in the Philippines called the National Kidney and Transplant Institute. Then I was surprised to meet her again here in Las Vegas.
Mary Lou and Julianne talked frequently, but it wasn't until Mary Lou's health scare that she got to experience the level of care that Julianne provides for her patients firsthand.
In December, I got sick with COVID, and she reached out. She almost messages me every day, pep me up, give me encouraging words, and tells me that she also suffered from COVID.
Julianne and her husband got COVID late last year, and as a nurse on the front lines caring for COVID patients, she was at high risk.
I was so happy I reached 2021. No, really, we were scared. We survived. Even before that, I was doing food drive, but after that, I got more inspired.
Both Julianne and her long-lost friend Mary Lou had pre-existing health issues and were unsure if their immune systems could beat the relentless virus.
I'm a kidney transplant patient with underlying medical problems.
I had skin cancer, and my white blood count is low, so of course I was scared to take care of COVID patients. But we take turns in going down to the 2 West floor to take care of them.
Julianne says her quick recovery gave her both insight and inspiration, so she set out to use her experience with COVID to help others and began delivering food and PPE to those who needed it the most.
Because I know how it feels. When it was my time, my doctor brought me food on the doorstep.
We Filipinos, even if you're not relatives, just friends, we support each other. Kind words, loving words, prayers.
Not only does Julianne serve as a nurse and an outstanding public servant, but she's able to see COVID through an entirely different lens as a journalist.
Mostly the things that I write in the newspaper are obituary, story about these leaders who passed away.
Julianne says her goal is to help as many people as she can who have been affected by COVID through her work as a nurse inside the hospital and out.
My dear friend, keep going on. You are amazing. And because you are a nurse extraordinaire, you know, nurses, and she provides the best tender, loving care. She goes beyond her, she goes beyond her call of duty.
I'm just happy that I'm recognized, because they would ask, Julie, I don't know how you do that. Do you even sleep? Because I'm not happy if I don't go out. If I don't go and get something for the neighbor, for the needy.
Zora Asbury, 13 Action News.
Putting in the hard work to be the best version of herself, a local nurse is continuing her medical education during the pandemic to elevate the level of care she can provide. 13 Action News reporter Kelsey McFarland introduces you to Annette Nolasco.
The reason I got into healthcare was because my aunt passed away from cancer. I saw the care that she was receiving by the nurses, so that kind of inspired me.
Annette works the night shift in Valley Hospital's emergency room. She works long, hard hours, made harder by the pandemic.
We come in at 7 p.m. We work 12-hour shifts, leave at 7 a.m. So it's always high energy, never not knowing what's coming in through the doors, which is really exciting.
She spends her days off in school, studying to become a nurse practitioner.
I'll be done in November, so I'm just counting down the months. So it's really exciting. I'll still be, providing care for those patients, but at a different level. I really got inspired by working with the people here. A lot of the providers are nurse practitioners, and just seeing what they're capable of providing, the type of care they give to the patients.
So Annette's been going to school for nursing pretty much the whole time I've known her. At first, she was just doing a few classes at a time and paying as she went, and she was always working full time. So it's been, oh my gosh, maybe 15 years for her.
Annette's friend Jeanette Wheatley, who now lives in Seattle, nominated her for Nurses Appreciation Week.
She just needs that recognition, Flowers or balloons won't cut it. I just wanted to let people know how awesome she's been.
Annette didn't know who nominated her, and this is the moment she found out.
It was Jeanette Wheatley.
Oh, that's a really good friend of mine. I used to call her and tell her all the stress I was going through, because it was a scary time during COVID. So I can't believe she lives in Seattle, so I don't even know how old she. So that was really nice.
With graduation on the horizon, Annette says a little recognition goes a long way.
Sometimes you feel that you're working so hard and you're giving everything you can, and sometimes you're you don't know if people appreciate it, if people notice, you give it all, your all, and it's nice being recognized.
Kelsey McFarland, 13 Action News.
What a great story. Well, coming up, exceptional quality of care. 2 nurses following their gut instinct, something a patient they both took care of says saved his life. Their extraordinary story up next.
You're watching Nevada Nurses Frontline Heroes, a 13 Action News special, sponsored by Clark County Credit Union.
Making a lasting impact. A local man is finally getting to say thank you to some Valley nurses. 13 Action News reporter Alicia Patillo sits down with a COVID survivor who says angels went above and beyond to save his life.
He's always been a man of faith.
I grew up in the church, never left the church. Can't live without the church.
Jim Saraceno had no idea his faith would be tested. In July 2020, it was.
My journey with COVID began unsuspectingly. I never had symptoms. That was what the real surprise was.
It wasn't until Jim went to Mass at Christ the King Catholic Church that he realized he had a problem.
The priest happened to notice that I seemed to have difficulty breathing. I wasn't as cognizant of it as he was. That was a Saturday afternoon Mass. It felt worse on Sunday and then worse on Monday.
Acting quickly, he scheduled a routine checkup on July 13th, 2020 at the UMC Centennial Hills. What he found out was far worse than what he expected.
They couldn't get my oxygen level elevated above 70, and apparently my oxygen wasn't getting to my brain. They didn't understand how I was able to drive there without passing out.
Jim was losing a significant amount of oxygen, and it was Becky Deersky that made a call that would ultimately save his life.
Knowing the history of why he came in, it led me as a nurse in my critical thinking that he possibly had a severe issue possibly about to happen that could result in death. So I let him know I was concerned that these flags are going off and I need you to go down to our quick care to be assessed.
That good call prompted Jim to take a COVID test.
I listened to that little gut feeling that tells me to go and do something that is normally not in my line for that day, so that way I can be there for them.
After taking 3 COVID tests, Jim tested positive and his nightmare was just beginning.
I went for CAT scans, ultrasounds, everything happened, and they found out that I was filled all the way up with pneumonia, and that's why I wasn't being able to breathe.
Jim was taken to the ICU at UMC. As his condition showed no signs of progress, his hope was restored after he met his nurse, Cynthia De Los Reyes.
I try to really calm him down because I feel his anxiety. I try to hold his hand and say, you'll be okay, just follow what we say, and everything will be okay.
Jim found comfort in Cynthia and in her faith in God.
I was able to find out that she was also Catholic. She came to this church, Christ the King, and that gave me a very close relationship.
After nearly 3 weeks, Jim was COVID-free, leaving intensive care with a new outlook on life and a heart of thanksgiving for the angels he says saved his life.
I feel doubly, triply blessed. God is good, and without his help and their help, I don't know that I'd be here today.
In the days to follow, Jim went back to the church that he couldn't live without. But this time, he was reunited with the nurse who saved his life.
I never got to see what Cynthia looked like because in intensive care, everyone is completely covered except your eyes. And all of a sudden, this young lady comes up to me, and we're still in our masks, and she said, "Are you Jim?" And I said, "Yes, I am." "And who are you?" She said, "I am Cynthia. I was your nurse in intensive care." And I was blown away because I felt here's another moment where God works miracles.
As 13 Action News honors nurses this week, Jim wanted to send a special thank you to the 2 that helped save his life.
I can't thank Cynthia and Becky enough for having the foresight to offer the care, the quality of care that they gave us, and they took personal care, I felt, in me.
And Cynthia and Becky couldn't be more honored.
Because not only do my leadership know of what I've done, but now Las Vegas knows, and possibly more than that know, that I do truly take nursing seriously. I love it, and I love caring for my patients. So glad you're doing well, Jim.
For him to do this, to be outreaching the community for this, is so overwhelming. It's like a live Daisy Award, and I'm very touched. And I'm speaking for me, for the whole unit as well, because we really work very hard to get them better.
Alicia Patillo, 13 Action News.
Another great story. Well, coming up, a passion to help. The pandemic showing frontline workers commitment. One nurse says no matter what the challenge is, he knows his job is one he was meant to do. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 13 Action News special, Nevada Nurses Frontline Heroes. We're spotlighting those working tirelessly to serve our community. When it comes to nurse-patient relationships, trust is an important factor. And 13 Action News anchor Todd Quinones introduces you to a couple and a nurse who became so close they consider themselves family.
Armida Malot's stride may not be what it used to be, but her sense of humor is as strong as ever.
Maybe she'll go away. She won't go away. No, she's good company.
The she Armida refers to is registered nurse Michelle Ogman, who visits her every week.
They know that they can call me, they're going to get help.
At 90 years old, Armida struggles with her pulmonary fibrosis, which causes her shortness of breath.
She keeps after me pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and I appreciate her being concerned about me. So that's something I look forward to.
Armida's husband, Michael, nominated Michelle to be recognized by 13 Action News.
I mean, it brought me to tears just to, read what they actually appreciate about you as a nurse.
Michelle has been coming to the Mlotz home now for about a year and a half.
We're very comfortable with Michelle. She's almost like family now.
And if you're a face that they enjoy seeing, then it's, it's good for them overall. Yeah, to bring a smile to their face.
It's that compassion and empathy, Michael says, that makes Michelle special.
And which are qualities that are typically not taught in any school.
Case in point, recently Armida saw a doctor seeking help about what to do for a hernia that she suffers from, but wasn't happy with the way that visit went.
But, because she gets very short of breath, so we wanted to see if she could have surgery, if it would make her quality of life better.
The Mlotz then turning to the person that they have come to trust to help find a second opinion.
And again, the second opinion provided my wife with the pertinent information that we needed to make an informed decision about whether or not to consider surgery.
They opted not to have the surgery, and they are grateful Michelle was with them every step of the way.
Oh, I need her all the time now. Yeah. I don't think she's good company. Besides being a wonderful nurse, she's good company when she comes.
That kind of feedback is also helping Michelle as well.
Oh, I have the best job that I've ever had as a nurse right now.
It is clearly a match meant for healing. Todd Quinones, 13 Action News.
Helping people in some of the worst moments of their lives. That's something Mark Johnson lives for. 13 Action News reporter Bree Guy introduces us to an EMS with a passion to care for those in need.
Mark Johnson's passion has always been emergency medical services. He started out as an EMT, then put himself through nursing school. He's experienced it all from the emergency room to pediatrics to heart evaluation, and even spent time as a flight nurse.
I love the autonomy of emergency medicine and being able to do what's right for the patient.
When asked about the biggest change he has seen during his years in emergency medicine, his response, 2020 and the coronavirus.
It's just been very tough to take a patient to a skilled nursing facility on a ventilator, not have the family around, and having them stare in the windows, from outside.
A longtime colleague of Johnson, Donna Miller, has had the opportunity to see Mark in action firsthand.
What I have seen him demonstrate all along is courage. It takes courage to be part of this industry. I have seen passion for his profession. He doesn't have a job, he has a passion. And I have seen compassion for the patients that he's taking care of in the worst day of their lives.
She has many heroic memories of Mark, like the time he saved a patient while the patient was being taken off an aircraft.
I have seen him literally throwing himself over that ramp in order to catch a oxygen tank that fell out of the side of the very large group of people that were transporting and transferring that patient. And not only he saved the equipment, but he saved that patient's life.
Johnson says the hardest part of the job, besides being physically demanding, is
the human response for, seeing somebody crying over a loved one that they might not ever get to see again. I'm that link.
And the best part?
It might sound cheesy, but just doing the right thing for people.
That gift of tomorrow, he does it every day with many of his patients.
Have you had a moment where you thought, this is what I was meant to do?
I would say weekly, if not daily, that happens.
Congratulations, Mark, for that well-deserved recognition. You rock.
Free Guy, 13 Action News.